Yo, what's up with the people, man? This Big Ring. I got my man right here.
Dave Daly.
And basically, man, what we're doing is the first interview. The people been asking about the interview. All of this stuff came to fruition based upon a letter that the United States Attorney for D.C. sent to the City Council with the expectations that the council would do something in regards to certain local legislation that was passed dealing with IRAA, Second Look Amendment Act, dealing with the Youth Act, and another piece of legislation that was allowing people to get certain charges that they had on their records expunged. And my purpose for wanting to put this platform together is just premised upon sharing the stories, man. Shining lights on the stories of the guys that have came home to show the power of redemption, to show the power of how one can really resurrect themselves, man, from being within those dismal crips, downtrodden criminals, whatever it is that they wanted to label us, and show that when people are given a second chance, they have the power to change. So I'm here with my man Dave. We're going to get into it. The first thing that I want to get into is that prior to all of this, prior to your incarceration, what did your life situation look like during that particular period of time?
Man, I grew up around First and T Street, man. Mother was on drugs. Man, it was kind of hard for me growing up, so man, I started hustling and stuff. My sister was hustling, my brother was hustling, everybody was like fending for themselves. And that's all we knew was the streets. So that's what we grew up doing. And back then, we came with hustling, came with violence and stuff like that too. So, man, it was like, that was just part of our upbringing. Hustling and violence. And it was like the norm back then, so I'm saying. So that's all we knew. That was our struggle, but that was our survival as plus. And that's what we did. We hustled and we survived. So that was part of my life.
Okay, and this was during a period of time with growing up in the era where DC was the murder capital. You had the war on drugs, and basically, man, most of the young people like us was subjected to that environment. We was in an environment as young people that we couldn't extricate ourselves from. So I want to point out two things. I want you to share on this. One, I want to know how old you was when you got arrested. How much time did they give you? Because you was a juvenile and they charged you as an adult, right?
Yeah.
All right. So tell the people how old you was and tell the people how much time you got. And then after getting that time, while you were in prison, what was that process like for you to go through a transformation at some point where you chose to take a different direction with your life?
All right, so I went to jail when I was 17. I got locked up a whole lot of charges. First 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 attempted murders of police, like 4 gun charges, and some other assault to kills and stuff like that too. But I never found guilty on 2 second-degree murders and the gun charges. I beat the other charges. They gave me 35 to life. I ended up doing 25 years. I changed my life. I didn't change my life. I'm going too fast. So what happened was in the course of me doing my time, I was in the visiting hall with one of my youngest daughter, and I was sitting there looking at her, and I was like, man, I ain't had nothing to give her because I didn't know how to read and write. So I called my father and I told him I didn't know how to read and write. So he sent me some books called Reading for Dummies. And that's when I started investing in myself. And I taught myself how to read and write. I ended up taking my GED. And then once I learned how to read and write, I started reading more books. Once I started reading more books, I started learning more things that was, that was teaching me more than just the city life. I started reading about different cultures and different places, and and it was taking me different, parts of the world that I've never been before in my mind. So I'm saying, and I wanted to better myself. And then I started investing in who I was as a person. And that's when I started making my change.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. So let me ask you this. Did you ever think that a time would come where there would be a piece of legislation that will afford you the opportunity to have a second chance at life?
Be honest with you, no. At the time, all we kept hearing was denied. I didn't went through all my different appeals and all that type of stuff. So basically, I just was paying myself to just be the best man I could be. And try to be the best father I could be, the best brother I could be, the best man I could be, and just keep on growing, right? And in the process of doing that, that's when Miller and Graham came out. I mean, when Miller and Graham came out, it gave me hope. I was like, whoa. I mean, but it was a federal joint. It was a federal case, and the language in it was like you had to have life without parole. I mean, I didn't have life without parole. So, I mean, I kept on reading it, but it gave me some hope then. I mean, but at first, I didn't have no hope because all these new laws was coming out. It was always non-violent offender laws. I mean, so none of them ever had anything because I had violence in my case.
Okay. So you mentioned Miller and Graham. So just to kind of, give the people some reference, there was some legislation that came out. The first case was Robo versus Simmons. The second case was Graham versus Florida. And the final case was Miller versus Alabama. There was another case that came out after Miller, Alabama, but those three cases right there is the premise from which the D.C. legislators created the Incarceration Reduction Amendment Act and the Second Look Amendment Act, which all of it is, better known as IRAA, right? And in that legislation, without going through all the details, the main premise was that a child's brain is not fully developed until around 25, 26 years old. Therefore, a child shouldn't be held accountable or to the same standard as criminal culpability as an adult, right? And then the other thing of it was that children can age out of crime based upon that principle if they can change their mindset and change their environment. And so my purpose in creating this platform and allowing guys like Dave to share their story is to highlight the authenticity of that scientific evidence, right? To highlight, with given a second chance, all the great things that individuals like Dave and all the other people with the stories you want to hear, to show that redemption is possible, that people deserve a second chance, and that given a second chance, individuals can do great things, as we're about to get into post-release, what Dave has done with his life and his freedom once he was given a second chance to do so. Man, share with the people the impact that you've had on our city and our community as a whole since you've been released from incarceration under the IRAA.
Oh man, so since I've been home, I've been working as a credible messenger. I worked as a VI, Violence Intervention Specialist. I have worked in group homes. I have my own nonprofit DB in the community. I have my own business, R&B logistics, where I've gave people jobs doing laser shipment. I bought me some vans. My brother brought me a van too to help me with my business. I did a lot of different community events. I did a lot of big community events too, all over the city. I did a lot of mediations. We worked on some ceasefires. I testified in front of city council about 4 times about the IRAA, about credible messenger, about different things, about nonviolence and keeping the violence down and stuff like that. And I also helped a lot of IRAA brothers out, helping write letters for them, testify for them on at their hearings and stuff like that too. I support a lot of brothers when they come home. This helping them integrate themselves into the society.
Let me ask you something, not to cut you off. You spoke about mediation, right? And you conducted and helped facilitate mediations. Tell the people what a mediation is.
A mediation is when you get 2 groups of people to try to come together, to make a ceasefire in the community. So we get 2 different neighborhoods to come together, and we get them to have an understanding that the y'all gonna stop shooting at each other, right? Well, sometimes you can't get them to stop beefing, but we can have a neutral understanding, like we're not gonna come around your neighborhood and shoot, you don't come around my neighborhood and shoot. And that's the beginning of it. And then we can keep on following up with them so we can get them to stop. Eventually to stop shooting each other.
So you talking about 2 neighborhoods within the District of Columbia that may have had historical conflict with each other with violence.
Yes.
And you, as an expert and doing this work, was able to step in and to facilitate a process where the beef can possibly be squashed, or if not squashed, at the least you can create what we talked about as a ceasefire.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so the reason why I wanted to draw emphasis on that with Dave is because the fervor show the power of redemption. Dave has used his story and who he is and what he's been through to reach out to them young people, to mentor them young people, to help them get jobs and assist them in other aspects of life. And in the process of doing that, able to get them to buy into the process where they're willing to sit down with someone that they've had conflict with because of Dave and others and come to a point where they decide, we're not doing this no more. You understand what I'm saying? So the point that I'm making, we're doing this platform is created for those who came home for IRAA. And I wanted to highlight that because it shows like the impact that Dave has had. It's going to further show the impact with others that we're going to interview, like their impact in the communities. Like this man came home and he's in the business of trying to save lives of young people. So it just shows that those who voted in favor to pass the legislation, the IRAA legislation, that they was right. This is just one example. So for every situation or worst case that they try to show why this legislation should possibly be repealed, we're going to have 100 stores. It's going to be like the old crack law where it was 100 to 1. You know what I mean? Where 1 kilo of powder cocaine was equivalent to 100 kilos of crack, because that's what the black people dealt with in the community. But I'm just giving an analogy on that. You understand what I'm saying? We're going to have 100 stories for every one story to combat any type of BS that's coming down the pipe for those who have an interest in trying to repeal the success of the legislation that the DC has passed that allowed people to have their lives back that was incarcerated since they was young. Dave, I want you to lead the people with a Jew or something, you know what I mean, just to get their mind working.
All right, so I'm going to say what really, really saved me, man, once I learned how to love myself. Because once I learned how to love myself, and then I learned how to love everybody, my family, my friends better. I mean, I can reciprocate love more once I learned how to love myself. I cared about my consequences, my actions, anything that I do is coming back towards me because I love myself. I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't love myself. I didn't know how to love. Now I know how to love. I give it out more better sometimes. So once you learn how to love yourself, you care about your consequences, you care about your environment, you care about everybody that is around you too. So learn how to love yourself and you love other people better.
All right, share with the people, man, your contact info, your Instagram or whatever, just in case anybody want to reach out to you on a business note, a personal note, further know more about your story, et cetera, et cetera.
All right, reach me at dabailey1976@gmail.com.
There it is, man. And y'all know y'all can catch me, man, on the platform Greatness Unlimited, the number 7, Greatness Unlimited, the number 7. And in conclusion, I just want to say this, hopefully, man, that what it is that we're endeavoring to do can have some type of positive impact, but most of all, just to shed light on our stories, man, for the people that may watch it or the people that don't know the actual impact that the guys that have come home on IRAA, what it is that we're doing. We're business owners. We have careers, we're working in communities, we're giving back, we're taxpayers, everything that a citizen should be. This is what we out here demonstrating. We demonstrating the possibilities of man, we demonstrating redemption, we demonstrating freedom, we demonstrating all the positive things that black men should be out here in the world. This is what we're doing. We're taking advantage of the second chance that we've been given. We're taking advantage of having our freedom back, of having our life back. We're homeowners, we're property owners. It's a beautiful thing. And anybody who know anybody that came home under this legislation, you got a few people that done had hiccups, then deviated, recidivated. But for the vast majority of us that came home under this legislation, we're doing great things, and the proof is in the pudding. And we're not going to allow nobody, not one person, not an entity, not the government, not nobody to come in and try to sabotage this beautiful piece of legislation that's premised upon science. So with that being said, I'm going to let y'all go. I'm going to say peace. Y'all stay sharp. Man, tap into the next one. I'm going to put it on the platform when the next interview is due and who that person going to be, man. Y'all be safe, man. Y'all stay sharp. Peace.